ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाखया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So this is a very significant verse where greater life of Brahma is also described, but it is described evam vidhe raho ratrehe, that the process of exhaustion, the process of depleting of life exists when the day is passing, when the night is passing. Evam vidher aho, ahaha Prabhupada says is days, ratre is night. Kalagatayo upalakshitaihi, as the time is passing, apakshitam declines. Apakshitam means it declines. What declines? Ivasyapi param ayur vayah shatam. Everybody is supposed to live for their 100 years. But as the days are passing, nights are passing, apakshitam ivasyapi param ayur vayah shatam. The life is declining. Brahmaji may be living his 100 years, which is, according to our calculation, many millions of years. But even his life is getting exhausted day by day. And if he does not perform, if he does not understand the responsibility of life, his life will also become completely exhausted. So, it is very important, therefore, to understand that one's life may be like that of Brahma, or one's life may not be like that of Brahma. What is more important is to live a life of responsibility, is what is very, very important. Animals do not live a life of responsibility. And if we also pass our life like irresponsible, simply in the propensities of animals, then our life will also become exhausted. This very important human life which is given for self-realization will very soon be finished. So, it is very important to understand the value of this human form of life. Narad Muni, when he wanted to guide, when he saw Vedavyasas, that he was very, very despondent, he was very depressed. Vedavyasa had compiled all the Vedic literatures which were dealing with dharma, artha, kama, and finally moksha. But even after that, Vedavyasa was not very satisfied. He was still depressed. And he was not able to understand why this is happening. So then, Narad Muni comes. And Narad Muni speaks to him about the importance of understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead and rendering devotional service to him. He said, whatever you have written in all this Vedic literature is only indirectly hinting towards devotional service. And devotional service is the most important, valuable gift which we can attain in this human form of life. And that you have neglected. Only indirectly you have given some hints. Whereas you have given hints to dharma, artha, kama, all these things, you have directly spoken about that. So people will take up to all these things. They will take to religion for economic development. And factually they may, once they become frustrated with all their plans, they may just try for moksha and not more than that. But that is not the goal of human life. The goal of human life is to understand prema pumartho mahan, to achieve the love of Godhead, which is the ultimate goal of human form of life. So you have not done justice to them, and that is why you are not satisfied. So then he quotes a very important verse, Narad Muni to Veda Vyasa, and it is very significant. We'll try to understand that. He says, Tasyeva heto prayateta ko vido na labhyate yad brahmatam upari adaha tallabhyate dukkavad anyata sukham kalena sarvatra gabhira ramhasa. So he says, Tasyeva hetoho prayateta ko vido. Human beings are supposed to be intelligent. An intelligent person, tasyeva heto, for what cause, prayateta, he should endeavor. Everybody has to endeavor. Even to eat, we have to endeavor. We cannot be sitting and thinking that food will come and enter into my mouth. We have to endeavor. But what is important is, for what cause should we endeavor? Should we endeavor only to fulfill the demands of this body? Should we endeavor only to fulfill this belly? So Narad Muni is saying, Tasyeva heto prayateta ko vido na labhyate yad brahmatam upari adaha. One should endeavor only for that happiness which one could not get even after endeavoring and even going to upari adaha. Upari means upper planetary system, adaha means lower planetary system. Suppose we have endeavored and we have even become Brahma. So we have got certain kind of happiness. Or we have gone to Pathala, in an abominable species of life. We have rotated even till there. So this happiness which one could not get even from most downtrodden life to the most exalted life in this material world, even the life of Brahma, that happiness is what one should endeavor for. You see? Then somebody may think, if I have to endeavor for that happiness, what will happen to the maintenance of my body? What happens to the needs of my body? What happens to my material happiness? What happens to some distress which is coming in my life? Isn't it? So then, Narad Muni is saying, the happiness of the body tad labhyate dukkhavad anyataha sukham. Just like dukkha, is anyone endeavoring for dukkha? Anybody is endeavoring? My exams are very near, let me fail in my exams. Rather, people will approach, at the time of exams, you will find more young students coming to the temple. Isn't it? Because they are thinking now exams are coming, so let me take some blessing, let me get some blessing so that I can pass nicely. Nobody is going to the temple and praying to the Lord, my dear Lord, let me fail in my exam. Let my father die of accident. Right? But in spite of our endeavoring, our not endeavoring for dukkha, dukkha is still coming. So Narad Muni is saying, why don't we understand sukha is the opposite side of dukkha? It is just like the coin has two sides, heads and tails. So it's just an opposite side of dukkha. For dukkha you are not endeavoring, why are you foolishly thinking for sukha you have to endeavor? The material sukha is destined, it will come. So there is no special endeavor required for that. That is what is very, very important. If we endeavor only to become advanced in Krishna consciousness, all necessities will automatically come. Separately we don't have to endeavor. That is the important thing. It's not that no endeavor is required at all. Where endeavor is required, that is important. It's just like if a highly placed government officer, he endeavors only to try to fulfill his duties, all other things automatically fall into place. He doesn't have to endeavor separately to get a servant. He doesn't have to endeavor to get a house. He doesn't have to endeavor to get some transportation. He doesn't have to endeavor for his ration. You see? All those things automatically, when he is endeavoring to do his duty, all other things are arranged. So that is what we have to understand. If our endeavor is to do our real duty of human form of life, to attain to Krishna consciousness, to attain that happiness which we could not get, even from the lowest to the highest species of life, if we endeavor only for that, automatically whatever is required for the maintenance of the body, whatever material happiness is required, that will come. Just like dukkha automatically comes, even without our endeavor. But foolishly, what do? We plan so many things for material happiness. Every activity begins with planning. Only a madman does not plan. Otherwise, we are all planning. I'll become a sportsman, I'll become an engineer, I'll do this. That's how we are undergoing so much hard struggle. So, with some plan, with some ambition, we are all performing different kinds of activities. But unfortunately, from the beginning of one's plan to the end of one's plan, everything is only miserable situation. Everything is miserable. So, rather than trying to endeavor for something which we cannot change, we should endeavor for something which we can change. What is the use of endeavoring in a direction which you cannot change? Let us say, for example, Prabhupada gives an example. Suppose you endeavor to think, I will change the life of a pig. The life of a pig, it is made in such a way, you cannot improve its condition of life. It is destined to eat stool, and it is going to eat stool. You may give halwa, you may give nice opportunity, everything, but in spite of that, if you put stool before him, he will still go for stool. So can we improve the economical condition of a pig? It is destined for certain kind of happiness. That happiness will come, wherever it may be. Similarly, rather than trying to improve our material condition, which is destined, we should try to change something which we can do. Our material condition we cannot change. Otherwise, actually you can see, so many people are trying to become rich, like Rockefeller or Ford, Prabhupada says. But still we don't find so many people becoming. So, if it is in the destiny, destiny will make you to work hard and you will achieve whatever is required. So, certain things, the material condition we cannot change. And even if we are endeavoring, and even if we go to planet of Brahma, what is the big deal? Prabhupada is saying, finally everything will be exhausted. That is, this verse is saying. Even Brahma's life is also getting depleted. He may enjoy for little longer time this so-called material happiness. What is so great about that? Somebody is enjoying for few hours, somebody is enjoying for a little bit more extension. What does it matter? So more important is to understand that in this human form of life, one should endeavor for something, that happiness which one could not get from the life of an insignificant living entity to the so-called significant life of Brahma. That happiness is what we should try in this human form of life. Prabhupada gives an example that actually, unfortunately, Maya's illusion is so great that we don't realize the impermanence of this life, the impermanent nature of this material world, that how everything is impermanent in this world. We don't realize that. When Dharmaraj asked this question to Maharaj Yudhishthir, what is the most wonderful thing you see in this world? So Maharaj Yudhishthir replied, Ahani ahani bhutani gacchanti iha yamalayam. Every moment, actually it's a scientific fact, you can see. If you analyze, if you go to the net and see, what is the death rate? Practically every moment somebody is dying. Every moment somebody is dying. So, ahani ahani bhutani gacchanti iha yamalayam. Every moment living entities are dying and they are proceeding to Yamalayam. For their judgment they are proceeding. But sthavara, those who are living, they are still thinking death is meant for only those who have died. He is thinking that still he is going to live forever. And he is not able to realize. So Prabhupada says, there is a saying in Bengali that, because especially in villages what happens is they use cow dung for burning. So what is done is, they take the cow dung, they make a cake kind of thing out of it. Just like we make chapati. So like that they make a cake kind of thing out of that cow dung, and then it is put in sun for getting dried. So then when they are cooking food, this dry cow dung, that caked dry cow dung, it is placed in the fire like a firewood and it burns. So there is a saying in Bengali that this wet cow dung is laughing at the dry cow dung. That see, this dry cow dung, it is being burned to ashes. So Prabhupada says, this foolish wet cow dung does not understand, very soon it will also become dry. Now it may be wet, but very soon it will also become dry, and it is also going to meet the same fate as the dry one. So we are not realizing this, that actually every moment the living entities are living this world. Every moment human beings are dying. Our parents, grandparents, they've all passed away. And time will come when my life will also pass away. But we are not thinking about that. We are still thinking, no, time is there, why we should worry? So we are not realizing the importance of this human form of life. So, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he explained about Atmaram verse, explanation about Atmaram verse. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains that actually devotional service to Krishna, even though it is the most sublime and easiest path, but still it is very difficult to attain. Very difficult to attain Krishna Bhakti. There are two reasons, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, why it is very difficult to attain Krishna consciousness. Even though it is the most simplest, it is our natural tendency to become Krishna conscious. See, in spite of that, it is very difficult to become Krishna conscious. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he says, sadhana ogaihi anasangaihi alabhya suchiradapi. Devotional perfection is very difficult to attain for two reasons. What is that? Harina cha asu adeya iti dvidha sasyat iti sudurlabha. First, very important, all of us should note this. Suchirat api, for a very long time, even if we keep on performing devotional service, without attachment to Krishna, we will not develop devotional service. Alabhya, you will not attain. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, unless one is attached to Krishna, he cannot attain devotional perfection even if he renders devotional service for a long time. Actually, sometimes we become very mechanical, very mechanical in our devotional service. Sometimes we are pujari and we don't even recognize that actually the Lord has come before me as deities, not to take some mechanical service from me. You see? Just imagine if you have no feelings. Suppose there is a guest in your house. Until and unless you have a feeling with love, with some warmth, you are receiving him, you are giving him something to eat. And if sometimes, this happens, anybody can make out. When our parents have grown very elderly, they have become old, and we lose that kind of taste for them, and we think बेकार है, बुढ़ा हो गया, कुछ काम का नहीं है कि नहीं? काम का न धाम का, दुश्मन अनाज का. So there is a saying, he is simply eating, he is simply meant for eating here. So sometimes, like a burden, we maintain them. We feed them, give them food, all those things, whatever is required for them. But there is no love. So they also are able to make out that actually we have become a burden on our children. They are also able to make out. Suppose a guest comes and without proper feeling, we neglect them, just maybe if we give them something to eat. So similarly, we have to understand that Krishna is not behind my mechanical service. I have to finish my service, I have to offer bhoga. In time I have to offer, no doubt. Punctuality, everything is required. But more important than all those rules and regulation is with what feeling I am offering. We want to somehow or other finish that and do something else. What is that nonsense understanding? Sometimes I have seen, when I was in Bangalore temple, as a temple commander, it was my service to note, how the devotees, what time they are doing, what is. Sometimes I have seen that devotee comes, his service is to offer, his service is to give rest to Prabhupada. And I am seeing, he comes not even offering obeisances to Prabhupada. He comes duck, duck, duck like a mechanical, he closes the curtain, puts off the light and goes away. No feeling at all. You see. And once I had an opportunity to go, I think some devotees were also there. We went to one Srinathji temple, I don't remember the exact place where we went. And I was so touched to see that even when the pujari is removing the flute of the Lord, he is begging for the mercy of the Lord. He is asking permission that, my dear Lord, please, I want to now remove your flute so that you can go and take rest. You see, all these upcharas, whatever we are having, is not meant for simply mechanical these things. It is all meant so that we develop that feeling. When we are giving rest to the Lord, when we are offering bhoga to the Lord, it's a great opportunity for us to render that service, to develop that relationship with the Lord. That we are forgetting. Isn't it? And that is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying. Chiramapi, even for long time, lifelong, you keep on performing devotional service mechanically, without feeling, you are not going to develop devotional service. Krishna will not reveal. So, devotional perfection is very difficult to attain for two reasons. First, unless one is attached to Krishna, he cannot attain devotional perfection, even if he renders devotional service for a long time. Understand this. Whole lifelong, 20 years we may be in devotional service. But until and unless we have developed attachment for Krishna, attachment for doing that service, attachment for dressing the Lord, attachment for offering bhoga to the Lord, attachment for whatever we are doing, until and unless we have developed that attachment, even for long time you keep on doing those devotional items, Krishna will not give you that devotional perfection. So that is the first thing. Second thing, it is Krishna's wish that he does not like to give away devotional service just like this. He is ready to give mukti. He is ready to give all kinds of material facilities. He will give. All names and fame and honor, everything he will give. Just like we are seeing in the opposite camp, the so-called gurus, because that is what they are aspiring for. So Krishna is very happy, okay, that is what you want, I'll give you. Nicely you take. Long time you have performed devotional service. Long time you have been chanting. Isn't it? So I'll give you all those things. Get good name throughout the world. You'll get good name as good guru. Everything will come. Lot of thousands of disciples. 30,000 disciples you will get. Don't worry about that. But you will not get Krishna Bhakti. Devotional perfection you will not get. So, another thing is, Krishna does not easily deliver perfection in devotional service. He does not give easily perfection in devotional service. He will say, remain mixed bhakta for many more lifetime, because that is what you are desiring. Isn't it? So, in the purport of that, Prabhupada explains this very nicely. Muktim dadati karhi chit. Shukdev Goswami told Maharaj Parikshit, Krishna readily grants liberation. Muktim dadati karhi chit. Yes, up to mukti also, easily Krishna can give. But does not very readily grant perfection in devotional service. What does this mean? Then Prabhupada explains. What does this mean? That Krishna can give mukti very easily, but not bhakti very easily. It means, Prabhupada says, Krishna wants to see that a devotee is actually sincere and serious. So what does Krishna want to see? We are sincere and serious. That he does not have ulterior motives. If this is the case, devotional service can be easily successful. See? It is easy also, very hard also. It just depends on your motive. If your motive is to become Krishna conscious, Krishna will provide all knowledge to you how to become perfect in Krishna consciousness. Very easy, then it becomes. It is just dependent on our sincerity. If we are not sincere, if we want to enjoy sense gratification, then Krishna will not very easily give you devotional service. You see? Otherwise, it is very difficult to obtain from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, this verse, which was, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying while explaining this Atmaram verse, was later quoted by Rupa Goswami in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So actually, even in devotional service, our endeavor, sincere endeavor is very important. Sometimes, even in devotional service, we misunderstand, thinking that Krishna, we have to depend on Krishna means that Krishna will do everything for me. That is not the meaning of dependence on Krishna. While doing all your activities, depend on Krishna, and for the result, depend on Krishna. That is what it means. Not that only for result you depend on Krishna and don't do any activity at all. Or result will come by automatically. I am just depending on Krishna, he will give perfection automatically. I don't require to do sadhana. No. While doing your sadhana, depend on Krishna, and for the result also depend on Krishna. So there is a very interesting, this is during a lecture, Prabhupada talked about how one should depend on Krishna. So in Bhagavad Gita, in 18th chapter, nearly at the end of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying, in all activities, just depend on me and work always under my protection. In such devotional service, be fully conscious of me. It's very important to understand. In all activities, just depend upon me and work always under my protection. Whatever activities we are doing, we should depend on Krishna and work always under the protection of Krishna, that Krishna will give me protection. In such devotional service, be fully conscious of me. Always be conscious of Krishna. So, in that lecture, Prabhupada explains, this is our process to depend on Krishna. Depend does not mean I shall remain idle. Depend means to work according to the direction of Shastras. Krishna has given his instructions in Bhagavad Gita. Instructions are given in Bhagavatam. Instructions are given by the spiritual master. What does it mean to depend on Krishna? To follow the instructions of the Acharya, to follow the instructions of Guru, to follow the instructions of Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. That is the meaning of dependence on Krishna. See? Dependent means to work according to the direction of Shastra. Dependent does not mean, now let me sleep and Krishna will do everything. Depend on Krishna. No, not like that. Krishna never advised Arjuna, you sleep on the chariot. I will do. Hare Krishna. He never said that. He said, you must have to fight. Yudhyasva mam anusmara. Fighting you have to do, but you always think of me. That this is success. Not that depend on Krishna means I have not to do, nothing to do. No, that is not the dependence on Krishna. Then there is another one letter Prabhupada wrote. Regarding the outlaws, why police protection is not there? So that means some outlaws, some criminal people, they were trying to harm the temple. So Prabhupada is saying, regarding the outlaw, why police protection is not there? Does it mean that in the United States, if somebody is threatened, he will have no state protection and must submit to the atrocities of the outlaws? Our point shall be that we shall take all necessary steps for self-protection. So we have to take. Depending on Krishna does not mean the thieves are coming to loot the temple. Krishna, I am depending on you. Let the thieves take everything. I am depending on you. No, that is not the meaning of dependence on Krishna. Dependence on Krishna means fight all those thieves. Depending on Krishna, you fight them. And then for the result, you wait for Krishna. I have done my best. After that also, if the thieves have taken away, I depend on the Lord. That is the thing. Not that thieves are coming and they are barging and they are trying to take away the log. No, Lord, I am depending on you. That is not the idea of depending on Krishna. That is what we should understand. We have to endeavor. Similarly, in our sadhana, it is not that Krishna, I am depending on you, you do everything. Krishna has already given his instruction, what is required to be done, what is not required to be done. All those things we have to follow and depend on Krishna for the result. That is what is required. Our point shall be, we shall take all necessary steps for self-protection depending the result on Krishna. We should not idly sit down, simply depending on Krishna. Arjuna had to fight in the battlefield, but at the same time he heard Bhagavad Gita. Our motto shall be like that. Neither we shall fight alone without Krishna consciousness, nor we shall give up all possible facilities in Krishna consciousness. So this is very, very important. So our sincere endeavor, our sincere efforts, our motive for what we are practicing devotional service, all those things Krishna sees, and then he grants perfection. Then he will give all facility. Then devotional service is very easy. Otherwise, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, it is very difficult to become fully Krishna conscious. It is very difficult to become successful in Krishna consciousness. So imagine, first of all, devotional service is not so easy. And secondly, if we waste this valuable human form of life simply for animal propensities, not understanding the value of this human life, and simply thinking that maybe life of Brahma is great, let me try to attain that kind of life. So this verse is very clearly saying, whether one attains the life of Brahma or whether one attains the life of insignificant living entity, it does not matter. Everybody's time will be exhausted when the sun is rising, when the days are passing, nights are passing, everybody's life will be exhausted. So what is important is to attain perfection of human life, which can be attained only by performing devotional service. So we'll stop with this. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.